You know? Take the first struggle. We don't believe, or we struggle to believe, because we're not convinced that God knows who we are. We're not convinced that we matter enough, that we're showing up on God's radar screen, so we struggle to believe. We struggle to believe that God really could do something that would change our life for the better. We're just not convinced yet that God acts and will act in our lives. The other side of that coin is that we don't believe, or we struggle to believe in miracles. We struggle to believe in the power of God because we feel like we're masters of our universe. And we say, oh, that's okay, God, I got everything under control, thank you very much. So that's the flip side of that. That's also called sin, by the way. You know? We've got everything under control here, God. I mean, we live in a state-of-the-art home. We have state-of-the-art vehicles. We haven't got any weeds in our house. All the gravel is in the perfect place. We get our driveway cleared of snow. We go to the grocery store. Bank account's good. No, God, I really don't need much from you this week. That's the problem. Sometimes we don't believe because we believe we've got it handled. Thank you very much, God. So there's no need for us to believe. That's for the weak people. That's for the sissies, right? I've heard guys kind of say that, kind of imply that. No, that's for the weak people to trust God as a crutch, as a drug, as an aid. And so we struggle. We struggle to believe. And the word is, the gospel is, when we don't believe, we won't see. So again, I challenge you. Do you believe in God's love? Do you believe in God's power? And how is this influencing and inspiring the people around you? Because whether we like it or not, those people are watching and paying attention. Do you believe to the point that others around you believe, are inspired? That's why the gospel lesson this morning of the royal official, that's why that's an important lesson for us to learn from this morning. The gospel official, the religious official, the political official from King Herod's court is a good example for us when we consider, when we struggle, when we wrestle with this idea of, do I believe, do I not believe? Here's this man that believed a little bit. Here's this man that was on this journey, this path. He didn't get there overnight. Here's this man, this King Herod, this royal official. We take a closer look at him because here he was, he had power, he had influence because of his position. Fair enough? Everybody with me? He had power, he had authority, he had influence, and yet his son had such a high fever that his son was close to death, which would have been very common in that day. His son was close to death, and the reality is that all of his job and all of his money and all of his connections and all of his influence and all of his power had not changed that situation a little tiny bit. You with me? That's what's going on. Okay? It was one of those moments maybe in this man's life when suddenly everything came crashing down and he wasn't in control of everything. He wasn't in control of everything, and in some small way, maybe God was whispering in his ear going, it's not about you. You can't handle everything. And this royal official was at least mature enough. He was at least mature enough to be open, to be receptive to the possibility that this fellow Jesus that he'd been hearing about might be able to do something about it. I look at that and say this royal official wanted to believe. He wanted to believe because everything that he knew, his power, his money, his influence, his name, wasn't touching his son who he loved. And so this royal official was open and he was receptive to the possibility that maybe God would act through this Jesus. So he went to see him. He went to see him, and that's the first step. That's the first step to believing, to believing in miracles. A first step is being open and being receptive to the possibilities that there's a higher power that's stronger and more knowledgeable than you are. That's the first step to believing. When we talk about believing in everyday miracles, first step, are you open? And are you receptive to the possibility that God loves you, that God cares about you, that God knows about you, and that God will intercede to change things to make your life profoundly better? Are you open to that? First step. Second step, this royal official, he took a next deeper step, and listen to me very carefully. He believed Jesus. 3 words. He believed Jesus. Not believed in. He believed in. He stood there eyeball to eyeball with Jesus and said, hey, I want you to come with me. Come to my house. Heal my son, heal my son. And Jesus said, go, your son is well. And he believed him. He wanted Jesus to act in a certain way. Jesus didn't act that way. He stood eyeball to eyeball, and he took Jesus at his word, and he acted on this belief, and he started heading home. Understand what the royal official did not do. He didn't stand around and whine and complain that Jesus didn't do it exactly the way he wanted. Right? You with me? He didn't say, no, you need to come to my house. That's the way I want it. He didn't do that. He didn't ask Jesus to help and then go try somebody else, you know? He didn't ask Jesus and then go try a witch doctor or another religion or something like that. He took Jesus at his word. He believed and he acted on his belief. He didn't just give lip service to the fact that he believed, and I think that's significant for us. Because a next step in believing miracles, a next step after being open to the possibilities, is we have to practice it. We have to, now listen to this, get this. We have to act as if God has heard and is in the process of answering. You ever thought about that? You have to act as if God has heard you and God is in the process of answering you. That's acting on belief. But look, it's difficult. I know that. It's difficult for us to stay tuned in. We've got way too many distractions. Think about in your life how many screens you have. Seriously. You got a cell phone screen, you got an iPod screen, you got a computer screen, you got a TV screen, maybe 4 or 5 in your house, right? You got a screen in your car that tells you where to go to and where to drive to, right? We have lots of screens, for example. We get distracted. And we're also used to on-demand. How many of you have on-demand movies in your house? Be honest, don't be afraid. On-demand. On-demand. I want a movie at 4 o'clock in the morning. I want to watch Three Stooges. I can do it. I have Netflix, right? We have on-demand movies. We have on-demand food, right? We call Domino's Pizza and say, I want pizza and some of those awesome jalapeno bacon cheese sticks. 20 minutes? Thank you. On-demand, right? We're used to that. We're used to that with our medical care. If I fall off this stage right now and hurt myself, hopefully, somebody's going to put me in the car and take me down to the hospital, and I'm going to have immediate on-demand medical care. Yes? We're used to this. We're used to overnight delivery. We don't do this layaway thing anymore. Some of you remember the old days? You put something on layaway at Penny's or Montgomery Ward's? Anybody? We don't do that. We have credit cards, right? Even though Dave Ramsey says don't, we do. And we get an overnight delivery. That's why waiting and watching for God to act and show up, folks, it is hard. And we need to admit it's hard. It's much easier to pray, to kind of pretend to pray to God for Jesus to come, to do a miracle, but then we worry ourselves sick and lay awake at night. Yeah, that's a lot easier. And it's not faithful. It's a lot easier to try and solve our problems ourselves. Believing that God has heard you and is interceding and is in the process of helping you takes focus, and it takes commitment to the long run and to the big picture, and it takes real strength to hang in and to hold on and to believe. And that's what the royal official showed us. He believed Jesus and he headed for home. He put the shoe leather to the road and said, I believe you. And when the royal official heard that his son was alive, he fully, completely believed in the power of God to act in the ordinary world. And don't miss that lesson. That because he believed, because he moved to a full, functioning, real belief, everybody around him was influenced and inspired to believe as well. And I say to all of us, on this 4th Sunday of Advent, we are all in the process of believing. And you may not be there yet. You may not be there yet, okay. You may not be ready to believe, but I just invite you to try. I pray that you're on your way. I pray that you're going to give it a shot, really, to make your life profoundly different. I pray that you're going to try to be open, to be receptive, for God to make a difference in your life. Jesus told us that miracles. He said, maybe you people will never believe, unless you see signs and wonders. So the last thing I'm going to say to you today is, if you're not believing a word I said, maybe you don't, what's it going to take? How about other people? What about other people telling you about signs and wonders of how God has acted in their life? We have it in this photo album right here, a family album. We have it on the windows back in the back. Is that what it's going to take? Do you need to read about the signs that the people around you today? They've written about signs of God's presence. They've written about the wonders of God making a difference in their life. At what point are you going to believe them? At what point are you going to believe the one who writes about the presence of God in the hospital room? About the one who writes about the presence of God when Dad got hurt badly? The presence of God when he was struggling to stay sober? The presence of God. At what point will you believe the signs and the wonders of the people around you? So wherever you're at today and whatever's going on, I invite you and I encourage you to believe that others around you will believe. And to believe so that your life will be made profoundly better. Let's pray about that.